योगा अ कॉन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ नॉलेज एंड एक्सपीरियंस, इस विषय पर आधारित 2 दिवसीय वेबिनार में पुनः आप सभी का स्वागत है। हम अब आज के इस गरिमामय वेबिनार के दूसरे सत्र में प्रवेश कर रहे हैं। The interplay between knowledge and experience in yoga is not merely theoretical, but practical and transformative. For instance, the integration of yoga philosophy into contemporary practices demonstrate how ancient wisdom can enhance modern experience, leading to a more profound and holistic practice. This synergy enables practitioners to transcend mere physical exercise, embarking on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. वेबिनार की शुरुआत होने से पहले मैं सभी आदरणीय वक्ताओं से मेरा विनम्रतापूर्वक अनुरोध है कि कृपया अपने वक्तव्य की अवधि 15 से 20 मिनट तक ही रखें, ताकि हम आगे की गतिविधियों को सुचारू रूप से चला सकें। हमारे वक्ता कई सारे हैं, सबको हम अच्छे से सुन सकें, इसीलिए आप सभी से ये मेरा विनम्र अनुरोध है। इस वैचारिक और सांस्कृतिक संवाद के दूसरे सत्र की पहली वक्ता हैं पद्मश्री रंजना गौहर जी। श्रीमती रंजना गौहर is one of the most eminent exponent of Odissi dance in India. Trained under the legendary guru Padma Shri Mayadhar Rao, she has dedicated her life to the enrichment and international recognition of Odissi through outstanding solo and group performances, innovative choreographies, and committed pedagogy. She is the founder of Utsav Educational and Cultural Society, through which she has nurtured generation of dancers in India and abroad. Her acclaimed productions like Shri Geet Govindam, Chitrangada, Kabir, Matsya Avatar, and Om Namah Shivaya reflect her deep aesthetic sensibility and blend of tradition with creative exploration. In addition to being a celebrated performer, Ms. Srimati Gauhar is an author, researcher, and cultural ambassador. Her book Odyssey, The Dance Divine, and documentary films has contributed significantly to academic and cultural understanding of Indian classical dance. With decades of dedicated service to arts, Srimati Ranjana Gauhar continues to inspire the world with her vision, artistry, and unwavering commitment. मैं पद्मश्री श्रीमती रंजना गौहर जी से निवेदन करती हूं कि अपने विचारों एवं अनुभवों से हम सभी को लाभान्वित करें।
नमस्कार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपने मेरी इंट्रोडक्शन दी और मैं, जैसा कि आपने पहले वार्न कर दिया, ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगी और अपने पेपर की शुरुआत करती हूँ। I welcome you all on this occasion of celebration of World Yoga Day. Let us celebrate yoga and let us celebrate dance, because they are the two sides of the same coin. And that is my theme for today. To begin with, let us understand what is yoga. Derived from the Sanskrit word yud, yoga means union. Here it implies the union of individual consciousness with the universal consciousness. It is believed that the origin of yoga is more than 5,000 years old in the Indian body. And integrate thousands of years ago. But since yoga deals with universal truths, its teachings are relevant even today. Yoga is a practical aid. It is a path of integration, a practical guide to aligning the body, mind, and soul. The synthesis of yoga in different parts of yoga, karma, jnana.
रंजना जी, आप सुन रही हैं? मेरी आवाज आ रही है अब तक?
Sorry,
हाँ, आपकी आवाज कट रही है बीच बीच में।
मेरी आवाज कट रही है?
जी।
शायद कनेक्टिविटी में प्रॉब्लम है. इज इट बेटर नाउ?
हाँ, अभी अभी ठीक है।
ठीक है, मैं इसको इतना पास रखती हूँ.
जी।
I will this thing. So मैं कह रही थी कि since we all have different personalities, we may prefer one path to the other, but it is advisable to develop the whole. For that, a synthesis of all these yogas is recommended. Karma yoga is a selfless service, the path by which the mind most quickly purifies and its limits transcended. The Karma Yogi works hard, both physically and mentally. He seeks to eliminate the ego and its attachments, to serve humanity, and to see unity in diversity. Karma Yoga involves working in the world and giving of oneself without a desire for reward. And Mahatma Gandhi in modern times is perhaps one of the best examples we can have of a Karma Yogi. Then comes Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the knowledge obtained from the scriptures, philosophy, Vedanta, and so on and so forth. Jnana Yoga is usually regarded as the most difficult of the four paths of yoga. This path demands a sharp mind and unclouded intellect. Sri Adi Shankaracharya is a good example of Jnana Yogi because his knowledge not only enlightened him but others also. Adi Shankaracharya was a philosopher, most renowned exponent of Advaita Vedanta school of philosophy, from which doctrines is the field people who are emotional by nature. Bhakti, through various practices such as chanting, prayer, and the repetition of mantras, emotional energy is channelized into devotion, turning anger place. So let's hope this works. So we were talking about the third path of yoga, which is the bhakti path. And I think I had explained about it, that it is about emotional love that we channelize through chanting, prayers, and all. And for that, I feel Arjun is one of the best examples because he completely surrendered and devoted himself to Lord Krishna. The fourth is the Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga is the Hatha Yoga. That yoga which emphasizes asanas and pranayam. We each possess a vast mental and psychic resources that lie virtually untapped. To release this latent potential, Raj Yoga or Hatha Yoga prescribes a psychological approach based on a practical system of concentration and control of the mind and body. Right conduct, a healthy body, steady postures, and breath regulations are recommended to achieve this Raj Yoga. Only if this foundation is firm can this superstructure of concentration and meditation succeed. So without asanas and pranayam, there cannot be yoga. Sri B.K.S. Iyengar is one of the finest examples of a Raj Yogi. He mastered the art of Hatha Yoga and added a new dimension to the existing knowledge of yoga. Now, yoga philosophy sees the body as a vehicle for the soul in its journey towards enlightenment. Most of us question whether the body has a soul, but a practitioner of yoga will perhaps say, I am the soul, that has taken a body. There is one body which we all see, but actually there are three levels of bodies. One is the physical body that we all experience and enjoy through the senses. The other is the astral body, which is the pranic sheath or the layer that is the execution of prana and breath. And the third, which is more subtle, is the causal body or the karna sharira. The causal body is also known as the seed body. Just as a seed or a bulb contains within itself a blueprint of a plant it will produce, so the causal body stores subtle impressions in the form of karma. We will now proceed towards Patanjali, who is the revered name in the yoga tradition. He is the great writer of Yoga Sutra and has mentioned in his scriptures a vast number of yoga asanas which have come down to us. No exploration of yoga would be complete without honoring Lord Shiva, the Yogi Raj. He is the embodiment of stillness and motion, of fierce discipline and freedom. It is a lesser known fact that Patanjali alone wrote the Yoga Sutra only after learning these asanas from omnipotent Yogi Raj, Lord Shiva. It is believed that Shiva is the first yogi to have taught this knowledge to Patanjali. Shiva is also the Nataraj, the Lord of Dance. According to his admission, Patanjali salutes both the Yogi Raj and the Nataraj, that is Shiva. Shiva as Nataraj symbolizes the central rhythms of creation and destruction. Therefore, it can be inferred and accepted that yoga and dance have been two sides of the same coin from time immemorial. And Shiva is the origin of both yoga and dance. The ancient Kali Kotwam also describes how Patanjali watched Shiva and Kali dance and perform the 108 mystic karnas, which formed the foundation of the system of Natya Yoga or Natya Shastra. And that brings us to dance. So, how is dance connected to yoga? Yoga and dance are the ultimate unification needed to heighten bodily awareness and concentration, a balance of differing qualities within a dance pose. Strength and flexibility into relaxation and focus are needed for dancers. This can be achieved through the practice of yoga asanas and pranayama. This profound science and art, that is yoga and dance, unfold the infinite potential of the human mind, body, and soul. Once you start putting effort on the physical, mental, and emotional levels through the practice of yoga, dance becomes almost effortless. Professional dancers can also achieve much better stamina and enhanced physical fitness by practicing yoga asanas. Dancing is not just movement. It's more like meditation. So the incorporation of yoga can help take the dancing experience to a whole new level of passion and expression. Shiva, the great tapasvi and yogi, is also revered as Nataraj, the Lord of Dance. In India, it is an age-old tradition that yogi practices dance and the dancer practices yoga. an eternal harmony reflected in Shiva himself, the supreme yogi and the master of cosmic dance, Nataraj. I once heard a dancer in the West saying to me, I would like to only believe in a God that knows how to dance. But for us in India, Shiva has always been the fundamental motivation and inspiration as the Nataraj from time immemorial. And I think most of our gods dance, whether it's Krishna or it's Shiva or it's Ganeshji, they all dance. So in India, gods are very fond of dance, and we as dancers feel very happy and proud to be a part of that. Dance is the art of movement of the body, usually rhythmically to music, where either prescribed or improvised movements, steps, and gestures are performed, sometimes relating to the event or the situation. Nataraj, the Lord of Dance, is a depiction of Lord Shiva as the cosmic dancer who performs his divine dance to destroy a weary universe and make preparations for the process of the new creation. The most common forms of Shiva's dance are Lasya, the gentle form dance associated with the creation of the world, and Tandav, the ferocious dance associated with cosmic destruction. I would like to tell you a story about Shiva's Ananda dance, Ananda Tandav, and the Mimansikas, those whose ritualistics and who saw only the outer form of Shiva and feared his wild freedom. When they saw Shiva and what they saw frightened them. They saw a man who was so content and blissful and did not need the things that the Mimansikas aspired for. He did not seek wealth, he did not seek knowledge, he did not seek power. He was self-assured, self-contained, and self-fulfilled. The sight of Shiva made these people inadequate and insecure. In fear, they saw Shiva as a predator and decided to destroy him. Using their knowledge of Yajna, they invoked creatures from the fire and unleashed them against Shiva. First, the tiger came, then the serpent, and finally the demon. Shiva showed no signs of fear. He simply caught the tiger by the jaws, skinned it alive, and wrapped its hide around his body. Shiva picked up the snake and put it around his neck, and there it sat, still, with upraised hood. Finally, Shiva jumped on the back of the demon, breaking his back, and started to dance. The only music provided was by his own tamil. At first, the Mimansikas were terrified, but eventually, fear turned into awe. As the performance continued, it was mesmerizing. Shiva's hands, feet, and body moved gracefully in perfect coordination. His whole form seemed to expand. The ends of his hair rose up to touch the skies. The stars and the planets stopped to gaze. Such a dance had never been witnessed. No nymphs had danced like this, and Shiva's consort, Shakti, smiled from afar as she fell in love again. In his Anandandav, Shiva observed rhythms of nature, manifesting as breath, heartbeat, tides, and seasons. He also observed the rhythms of culture and the rhythms of thought and emotions in every human being. He saw how fortune follows misfortune, joy follows sorrow, excitement follows boredom, and pain follows pleasure. Unlike a gentle dance known as Lasya, this was Tandav, forceful as if demanding attention and evoking thoughts. Shiva was communicating. This was not entertainment. This was enlightenment. This was Ananda Tandav, the dance of bliss. Shiva struck a whole series of poses in order to stir the imagination, and then he finally froze. The final pose contained the wisdom of Vedas, and that one dance pose is Shiva as the Nataraj, which is befitting of our desire to help people access potentials within them. His Ananda Tandav, the dance of bliss, symbolizes the cosmic cycles of creation and dissolution, as well as the daily rhythms of harmony of life, birth, and death. The purpose of this dance is believed to release humankind from ignorance and snare of the self. Yoga and dance have a natural synthesis. Let us now explore how these two sacred practices, yoga and dance, meet and enrich each other. Dance, like yoga, is an art of balance. In every movement, we find the interplay of the opposites: strength and softness, stillness and flow. The dancer becomes a moving meditation, each breath an offering. How does yoga prepare the dancer's body? It brings balance, aligning the spine and joints to prevent injury. It cultivates focus and awareness, grounding the mind in the present. It enhances flexibility and strength, opening the hips, lengthening the spine, and expanding the breath. Breath is a silent dance. One of yoga's greatest gift is the power of breath through pranayama. In dance, we often forget to breathe, holding tensions in the shoulders and jaw. But the practice of pranayama teaches us to breathe and lead the way. I'm just my closing lines. Such practices bring not only physical fitness, like improved posture, stamina, flexibility, but also a sense of belonging and joy that remind us that life itself is a dance of breath, heartbeat, thoughts, and emotions. Beyond the physical, yoga offers profound healing for the dancer's heart and mind. It dissolves the pressure of perfection and performance, inviting us to listen to the body's wisdom. It quietens the mind. In this stillness of mind, dance becomes more than a technique. It becomes a prayer, a celebration of life. In yoga and in dance, let us unite body, mind, and soul, two sides of the same coin, reflecting the divine light within each of us. Namaskar.
धन्यवाद मैम। आपके सार गर्भित विचारों और योग पर आपके दृष्टिकोण के लिए हम हृदय से आपका आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। आपका प्रस्तुतिकरण हम सभी के लिए ज्ञानवर्धक रहा।
मैं 2 मिनट बात करूं रंजना जी?
प्लीज।
आपका योग को लेकर और योग और नृत्य को लेकर आपने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया कि कैसे इनका संबंध है और योग क्या है। पर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एज ए डांसर आप बहुत सफल हैं। मैं मानती हूँ कि आपने नृत्य को बहुत आगे ले गई हैं। नृत्य का आपका जुड़ाव तो है ही, पर नृत्य भी लाभान्वित हुआ है आपके साथ जुड़कर। ये मैं महसूस करती हूँ काफी दिनों से, और आपसे काफी बातचीत मेरी होती रहती है
जी।
और आपको आज यहाँ आमंत्रित करने के पीछे भी ये उद्देश्य था कि आप एज ए डांसर आप स्वयं योग से कैसे जुड़े हैं।
आप ये प्रश्न कर रही हैं मुझे?
हाँ, मैं पूछना चाह रही हूँ कि क्या आप योग करती हैं कि आप?
जी, मैं आज से नहीं, मैं कम से कम 40 इयर्स, मोर देन 40 इयर्स से जब से डांस से जुड़ी हूँ,
जी।
उस दिन से ही मैंने रियलाइज किया कि मेरे मूवमेंट्स, मेरी स्टैमिना, मेरी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, मेरी सपलनेस जो बॉडी में है, वो कभी नहीं आएगी अगर मैंने अपनी बॉडी को योगा आसनास और स्ट्रेचिंग, जो स्ट्रेच करने के योगा आसनास हैं, उनको अपने रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में नहीं ढाला। और गुरुजी की क्लास में भी जब हम क्लास ले रहे होते थे तो कभी वो बिठा देते थे। मैं तो वैसे बैठने वालों में से नहीं थी, लेकिन जब उनको लगता था कि भाई औरों को भी कुछ करना चाहिए, तो मैं जब बैठती थी उनकी क्लास में, बड़ा सा हॉल होता था, तो मैं एक साइड में जाकर अपने बॉडी के स्ट्रेचेस और कहते हैं ना, रिलैक्सिंग द बॉडी, रिलीविंग द बॉडी ऑफ द स्ट्रेस, एंड एट द सेम टाइम प्रिपेयरिंग द बॉडी to be able to dance within few minutes or hour, whatever the time there may be. So मैं एक मिनट भी वेस्ट नहीं करती थी। मुझे लगता था कि डांस के अलावा अगर मुझे कुछ करना है तो वो है योगा। और प्राणायाम मेरा थोड़ा लेट लाइफ में आया। लेट मतलब ये तो शुरू हो गया था बहुत छोटी उम्र में, लेकिन प्राणायाम करने के लिए थोड़ी समझ और एक अच्छे गुरु की भी जरूरत होती है। प्राणायाम आप नहीं करना भी नहीं चाहिए विदाउट द गाइडेंस ऑफ अ गुरु, क्योंकि इट कैन हैव नेगेटिव इफेक्ट्स। तो वो मैंने फिर उसके ऊपर भी ध्यान दिया, क्योंकि बहुत छोटी उम्र में सांस की प्रॉब्लम होती भी नहीं है, और थी भी नहीं, तब भी नहीं थी, अभी भी नहीं है। लेकिन हुआ क्या कि माइंड की एक्सपेंशन, एंड जैसा कि मैंने कहा, योगा हेल्प्स यू टू ओपन द इनर पोटेंशियल विच इज लाइंग डोरमेंट, जो सो रही हैं आपके अंदर की गुण और आपके अंदर की प्रतिभा, उसको भी उभारने में योग ही मदद करता है। डांस अकेला नहीं कर सकता। योग के मदद के बिना एक डांसर कंप्लीट नहीं होता है। शी इज इनकम्प्लीट, ही इज इनकम्प्लीट। ये मेरा विश्वास है। और मैं सोचती हूँ कि और मैं जब भी अपने स्टूडेंट्स को भी बहुत इनकरेज करती हूँ कि वो कभी भी डांस को आइसोलेट ना करें, वो उसको अकेले से ना देखें। ये दोनों, इसीलिए मेरा सब्जेक्ट भी हमेशा फेवरेट टॉपिक रहता है। उड़ीसी डांस एंड योगा आर टू साइड्स ऑफ द सेम कॉइन। ये सेम ही है, बस इतना ही फर्क है, इधर बदल दो उधर बदल दो। क्योंकि ये भी सच है जो मैंने कहा अभी, कि योगी लोग भी तो डांस करते थे और डांसर्स योगा करते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर सो ब्यूटिफुली इंटीग्रेटेड, एंड दिस इंटीग्रेशन कैन नेवर सेपरेट इन प्रैक्टिकल और इन थियोरेटिकल फॉर्म। both they are integrated in such a way that gods decided हम कौन होते हैं।
बिल्कुल। और शिव जी तो इसके सबसे बड़े
शिव जी सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है कि भैया डांस और नृत्य को अलग नहीं कर सकते आप, मिलके चलो तभी बात बनेगी। योगा भी तभी कंप्लीट होगा और डांस भी।
थैंक यू, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। और आप ऐसे हमारे विश्वविद्यालय के लिए सहयोग करते रहिए, आप आते रहिए।
हम आपकी सेवा में है जी। आप हुक्म दीजिए, कभी भी याद कीजिए। आपको पता है मांडवी जी, आई एम ऑलवेज रेडी एंड अवेलेबल। एनी टाइम यू नीड, एनी टाइम आई कैन डू एनीथिंग।
थैंक यू।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मुझे ये सौभाग्य है मेरा कि आपने मुझे याद किया ऐसे समय पे। ये मेरा बहुत फेवरेट टॉपिक है। थैंक यू वेरी मच। और सभी गुणी जनों को मेरा नमस्कार।
Thank you, ma'am.